Welcome back to Catalan Soccer, guys. I'm Catalan Ben, and today we're talking about how to plan your coaching sessions. We're going to give you some top tips on planning and how to perfect the planning process. So let's get straight into the video. So tip number one is to theme your sessions. Now, I don't just mean a football theme, I mean get creative with an idea that will capture kids' attention. Sometimes I will use Fortnite as a theme, or I will use Minecraft as a theme. I will pick a theme that I think kids are going to buy into to keep them engaged and try and theme my football session as much around that topic as I can to help them fall in love with my session. Especially if you're working with younger children, a theme can really help to sell the session to them. So next time you're on the pitch, don't have attackers and defenders, have avengers, and see if you guys can get the kids more engaged by theming your session. The next tip is to pick 3 clear messages. Sometimes as coaches, we can get caught up in trying to give too much information to kids, and that's always going to go over their heads and they will forget more than they will remember. So pick 3 clear messages, no more than that, to take home from your session. Now, those 3 key messages should then be broken down into 3-word sentences. So keep them short, keep them punchy. Even better if you can rhyme or use alliteration, and try and use something that will help them be memorable, so that when your child comes out of the session or at the very end of the session, if people are asking them, what did you learn today? They can repeat it back to them and they know exactly what your messages were. The next tip is don't just copy. Now, there's a lot of great session plans out there, and you can even find them online yourself or pay for them from other people. And it's a really good way when you're starting out to use other people's session plans that you know that are going to work and that you know are really well planned. But you should then be coming up with your own ideas to innovate and to add to that session plan. So it's great to start with a solid foundation from somebody else, but don't just recycle that and give it out exactly as you got it. Make sure that every time you take on a new session plan, or you read one, or you see one online, you try and adapt it for your kids and make it work for you. That's how you learn as a coach. Those innovations are really going to help your coaching journey. The next tip is all involved, ball involved. And this is a huge part of kids football. Whenever we're working with kids, we always need to make sure that the ball is involved as much as possible and that every single child is taking part in as much of the session as you can afford them to. So make sure that every time you plan your session, you're allowing for every kid to have a ball for at least 75% of the session. Now, yes, there's going to be times where you need to plan something a little more tactical, or it's going to rely more on one kid with the ball and other kids not with the ball, but do your absolute best to try and guarantee that all kids are involved and the ball's involved as much as you can. You can't go far wrong if every single kid has got a ball at their feet. The next tip is technical within tactical. And what we mean by that is sometimes a session plan will be highly technical, where kids are working on a particular move or a particular striking technique, which is a great start for kids. But then a lot of coaches then finish the session just with a match, just let them play some small-sided games. And sometimes that can be a real wasted opportunity, where the technical work that those kids are doing could then be putting it into tactical situations. So try and plan and try and script your session so that when there's a technical start to the session, that then carries over and the messages are repeated in the tactical element of the session too. And the next tip is plan your vocabulary. It's very important that we use the right words to communicate things, especially to young players. So make sure that before the session, you aren't just planning where the cones will go, where the balls will be, where the players will stand. Make sure you're planning what you will say, how you will say it. Use words that will rhyme, use words that have alliteration, and use things that kids will soak up quickly, and that repetition will really help them to remember. So don't just plan the basics, don't just plan what will happen, plan what you will say. You might have a buzzword for the session that you will keep repeating throughout the session to make sure that kids remember it and really take it home, or take it onto the pitch next time they play. But make sure that every time you're on the pitch, you have planned your vocabulary. And the final tip is to recap and review. Now, I know this can be tough. I've been there as a coach where I finish a session at the end of an hour and there's another load of people coming onto the pitch that I'm using, and I don't feel like I've got time to recap the session with the kids, and it just turns into take the bibs off, get the balls back in and get off the pitch as soon as possible. Believe me, I've been there. But what we need to do is try our best to plan, to review and recap at the end of the session. If that means wrapping your session or speeding things along a little bit earlier in the session to make sure you've got a few minutes right at the end where you can recap your messages, review what was said, and make sure it's soaked in and remembered by the kids. It's a huge part, and you'll notice that I even do it in my videos where we recap and review at the end of the video to make sure the message really hit home. So plan that into your session. Don't just remember 2 minutes before the session finishes. You won't have time. There's too many things to think about and too many things to pack away. So plan it into your session. 5 minutes before the end, we stop the session, we get round the tactics board, we recap and review. Thank you for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helps you plan better sessions and you see the benefit from it. Most importantly, I hope that the kids are getting more out of your classes because your planning is perfect. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, check out the rest of the channel to see more coaching content that will help you with your sessions, and I'll see you soon.